Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon, here on Squidcraft, Liara's patron server. So last episode we went and built up this line of buildings here to hide our two tree farms. Our overworld one is in the big purple building, and the nether one is in the red building. So as I was saying before we got rudely attacked by that enderman, I've gotten most of the buildings done. We just have one section over there on the red building and the roof to finish. And part of the reason that isn't done is because in order to do the roof, I need to get the wall in. And to get the wall in, I need to figure out the ceiling and how I want to decorate this side part over here. But we aren't going to figure that out right now. Instead, we are going to go and work on actually getting some more of this area terraformed, because we have all of these lines all over the place here, and with those tree farms done, I think it's about time that we actually got something done with them. So I have gone and laid out shulkers of materials in various areas close to where we are going to need to be working with them. So for example, we've got shulkers here of road building materials. We've got a couple shulkers of our terraforming, so moss and grass, ignore the extra tough. And then over here we have a shulker for our lakes, which as you can see I have gone and dug out more of here. And a shulker over here for materials for us to use for various bits of decoration, including various custom trees. And finally, a shulker for our paths that will run all through the garden, connecting our main road to our various buildings, both the ones that contain farms and the ones that are purely decorative. So I think what we're going to do is get started on doing some of that. So I think the first thing that we are going to start with here is the path work here, because I want to improve this from just a regular grass path. But before we do that, there are some improvements I want to make with our moss farm. Because with the new update, that means that if we were to go and turn this on, you would see, instead of pushing the moss, it just breaks now. And I also think that we can probably do this a lot more efficiently than what I have here. So let's take this old system out here. So what I think we're going to do is we are going to put some stone bricks along there. Then I think a moss block in the middle. And that's what's going to get bone meal to grow more. So now we just need to get our dispenser pointing into there. I wonder if we can just do... Nope. Okay, we need to get a block to support that from. So nope, not there. And let's remove our observer and that redstone because we don't need that line there. So now that we can get that dispenser in properly, we now have a system to bone meal there. And we need something to observe the stone moving so we can actually get this to convert to moss. So we need to break that block, and let's just break the whole line. We can add some detail work under there later. So now we just need an observer. And now if we go and put a block behind that observer, let's just use our stone brick. That should power the dispenser. And we don't need that block. So let's get some bone meal in here so we can test this. And since we just have to break that one block, let's clear the rest of them on here. That way when we turn the stone generator on, it doesn't break everything. So break that, and we have moss grown. Good, this works. Okay, so stone generator on, and that doesn't seem to be working properly. Why didn't that bone meal? Oh wait, there's grass in there. It's not going to bone meal. Okay. And it does not look like the moss carpet there got broken, so we need to get the piston back in to break the stuff on top of the moss. Otherwise, we're going to start have issues, and we gotta break the box so it doesn't push the stone bricks. Oh well. Let's get that piston back in after we turn that off there. Looks like we're also going to have stuff getting stuck underneath too. Should probably also grab some obsidian to stop these blocks getting pushed. Because if they get moved, that could mess with the redstone of the piston. Alright, so quite a bit of tinkering later. It seems like this is working great. Well, mostly. We do have the issue that the farm bone mealing anything is dependent upon this one block updating, which it won't do until it gets to be pushing there. That's fine. We also have to deal with the moss carpets, but we had to deal with those anyway, so that's not much of a change. So now that we've improved our moss farm to be more consistent and semi-automatic, as well as actually give us more moss per bone meal than before, because I couldn't figure out how to build this effectively with the moss block in the middle of the stone platform. So we got 5 blocks each time instead of just 3. But with that now improved, so we can get more moss to finish the general terraforming, I think it's time that we actually focus upon the paths. So I'm going to go tear out the grass paths that we have there. And then I will be back once we're ready to start detailing. So our path blocks removed, so we can actually get a clean slate on this path. I think what we're going to do is we are going to effectively have a mixture of these 6 blocks here, and that will form the basis of our path. Now, much like how I've done with the moss and the grass, I'm going to avoid putting the blocks like the paths and the podzol right near the edge, because I don't really want the regular dirt with the grass texture like that. And I think that this should work very well for the path work. Now, if we need extra lights in here, we can always go and hide them under the paths. And if we want path blocks on the edges here, we can always hide extra moss under there to cover that up. So with a short bit redone, I think that that looks a bit more like a muddy garden path than what we had before. So the blocks that we have in here are our dirt paths, cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, brown mushroom blocks, a little bit of brown concrete powder, podzol, and of course some coarse dirt. And I think that this is a good mix of blocks for what I want to accomplish. The coarse dirt gives us the dirt texture without having to worry about it being overgrown by the grass. I would put in some rooted dirt, but that's a bit hard to get, really. The podzol gives us a little bit of a muddy texture, and the grass paths give us some depth to the path because they're a little bit shorter than the other blocks. The cobblestones give a ruined feel, and kind of a look like this path was once much better maintained. Now, I'm not entirely certain on the brown mushroom blocks. I think they're a little light for the rest of the pattern, but they look kind of good as mud, so I'm not too concerned. And there we go. Now we have a nice little path here that runs between our lava farm and our moss farm. Almost connected it up over here to the main part of the road, and I am quite happy with it. I think it looks, well, not amazing, but pretty good. As just like a little pathway road. Now we'll probably have much smaller ones that are just grass paths with some coarse dirt in them, maybe a little bit of podzol. But I think for our main path work through the garden, I think this is going to be good. And I definitely prefer these detailed paths over the just plain grass path ones that we had before. Now, of course, we still have the main road. It's going to run through here all the way around and past our tree farms. I think for the main, well, not the primarily, I think for the biggest amount of paths, this will work quite well. Now, the next bit of long lines that we have are the rivers here, which I've already mentioned before is going to be cobblestone and prismarine. So let's grab those from our working shulker for this, and apparently we need more cobblestone. And the river is going to continue right up to about the lake here, which is going to have its own build palette. We are going to continue the prismarine and cobblestone pattern into the lake, but we are also going to mix in a few new blocks. And looking at where the river is, I think I need to dig this out by one more block again. We're also going to mix in some gravel like we did with our small pond over there. I think we're also going to go with some raw iron and a little bit of tuff. I still have to see how that is going to look at the end. I think it should work for a nice little lake bed. I need to do something along the side here, which I think we can probably just replace that end stone with some of the blocks that we're using for the floor of the lake. Let's see, let's dig a few of them out here and see what that looks like. Because it could be that I actually dug this out to the right length. Because it could be that I actually dug this out to the right depth anyway. And, I don't really like that. Alright, let's raise this up by a block again. And there we go. There's a small section of the lake done, so you can see what it looks like. I decided that we needed more than just the regular cobblestone in here. Let's replace that one. And so I've grabbed some of the mossy cobblestone. Kind of give it a more grown look. And I'm also playing with adding some of the moss blocks into the bottom of the lake in the deepest part. Just for like an completely overgrown rock look. And I think we might want to add a bit more a little higher up in the lake. But I'm trying to keep it away from the edge. I'm trying to keep it away from the outer edge so it doesn't blend in with the moss that we have around the outside. But I think this looks pretty good. Now, there's one more block I want to stick in here, and that is a little bit of diamond ore. And the reason for that is, well, I think it'll look good at the bottom of the lake. I don't really need it for anything. Got plenty of diamonds from going end raiding, so we might as well use the ore for a bit of decoration, because otherwise it's just going to sit in my storage and do absolutely nothing. And besides, if I want stuff to just sit in my storage, I have plenty of end stone for that. Alright, so with a little less than half the lake done, I think it's probably okay that we get a little bit of the water in here. And do kind of like what we did with the river, where we did half of it and then just kind of stopped. So let's release that valve. Doesn't get all the way to there. And then we can start filling this up, since we have a little bit of lake for it to flow into. Now, one thing I would like to do with this lake is I would like to be able to have some turtles on there. Oh, hey, we can start to see what this is going to look like under the water. Means I can start to remove those end rods, because Endermen can't spawn in the water anyway, and so we don't exactly need them. Ah, they're gonna love this, aren't they? But one thing I would like to do, and part of the reason why the entire shoreline here is not done, is I would like to try and see if we can't get a couple turtles for in here. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have a small cove right here that we're gonna do with sand. And with any luck, we should get a couple turtles to hatch out here. And there we go. I decided to mix in a little bit of gravel to the beach, just to add a little bit more texture. And now we have 3 turtle eggs. Endermen don't try and trample turtle eggs, do they? I don't know why they had that green. I don't know. I guess maybe because they're on sand? I've never seen them do the green particles before. Which, You know, I should probably actually have checked to see if those are actually going to hatch out here in the end, since there's no day-night cycle. Alright, so here we are in the very much flooded end of my creative testing world, where we are going to just place down a little bit of sand somewhere. It's not overly flooded. There we go. Make a small little beach. Do the same with gravel, just to make sure. And I guess we'll do the same with some end stone, just to be safe. So we're going to have multiple different numbers of turtle eggs on each one, just in case that helps them hatch faster. And we'll just see. Oh, looks like the sand does get the grain particles. So we've got the tick speed set up to 1,000. And I guess we will see. Oh. Already on the sand, we are starting to get hatching and cracks, which is a good sign and means that our turtles will be able to, in fact, hatch on Squidcraft. There we go. A little turtle. Excellent. I guess now we can head back to working in the lake so they have a place to live. And there we go. And with a little bit more water placed in, we can now see what this is going to look like once we get the full thing done. And I am quite happy with that riverbed, or not riverbed, lake bed. I think I probably need to mix in some more stairs into the... Nope, we don't want to stand on a turtle egg. The bottom there. But I think that that is good to go for finishing up the rest of the lake. And there we go, one lake bed done. I think it kind of looks like either a very, very detailed riverbed or a fish tank rather than a lake bed. But I'm perfectly fine with that. I think it looks quite nice. Now, we did have an Enderman crush one of our turtle eggs, so I've put them in somewhat protective boxes. So hopefully those two hatch. But now that we have the bed in, we need to get some of our detail blocks over here. I've got some amethyst, some seagrass, some moss carpets and azaleas we can stick in there, and a few corals and coral fans. Part of why I want the amethyst is I think it'll kind of look like some small... I suppose it just kind of looks like crystals, but I was hoping it might look like some purple corals, which I suppose it kind of does. Definitely adds some of the depth that we get with the corals, and it also doesn't change when we put it on the sides. Let's also get some seagrass in here for some weeds. Take a look out of the water here. I don't think that's too bad. We still have quite a bit more things that we can add to this, though. But we still need to get the rest of this in. And then we will have a fully terraformed lake. That finished up. And then I think we're probably going to jump right into a time lapse of getting some more stuff done around here. All right. And there we go. Quite a bit of work later, and we have a lot done here. And apparently Enderman can in fact teleport up here. Lovely. So as you can see, I've gotten quite a bit more of the path work done. The road extends quite a ways, and we have the second lake. Said angry Enderman. Apparently not around here. You can also see here that one of our turtle eggs is in fact cracking, which is a good sign because that means we'll get a baby turtle out here soon. Now, I did go and add in this little cocoa bean farm, which apparently we have some stuff to harvest. Let's get fortune. I think that works with cocoa beans. To be honest, I have no clue. And this is just so that we have a source of brown dye for crafting more brown concrete for the pathways. And this way we don't have to go all the way to the jungle every time we need more brown dye for the concrete. Now there's still quite a bit of work to do. I kind of ran out of moss. Finished some of the areas that we've already dug out. There's also quite a bit more roads, rivers, and pathways to fill in, as well as a few lakes and ponds to finish. Now for the parts that we've already done most of the terraforming for, we still have a lot of the custom trees and plants, and there's a few small little decorative builds I want to mess around with putting in here. But while I was working on this, I had a little bit of an idea for some way that we could improve our moss farm. So the improvements I want to make in here are actually twofold. First off, I want to get an actual collection system in, because there is a decent amount of moss that finds its way underneath the farm. And I figured we might as well put in a minecart rail with some chests to collect that all. Also, this should mean that we should get the stuff that grows on top of the moss collected from the farm. And we don't have to constantly keep walking down to go grab it. So the collection itself is just going to be a couple chests with some hoppers and some minecart rails. And I think we should just be able to do 4 layers here and it'll loop for us. I don't quite know if we need power rails on all of these lines, but we'll put 3 there, and hopefully once we power those, that should be enough to keep this minecart going. So with a collection system in, the other thing I want to try and see if we can get to work is to put some pistons down like this, and hopefully that should break the moss carpets for us. And that way we can just run this farm basically automatically, since we will no longer have to worry about the moss carpets. And we should hopefully be able to power all of these from the same line that powers the piston that clears the plant material off of the moss that allows us to get more moss from all this. So with those in, if we go and turn this on and wait a few repetitions after we get redstone up there, yeah, that should power that. Alright, so when that pushes again, that should... Did that not grow any moss? What? That worked there. Let's grab some bone meal out of there. Try this again. Just bone meal the moss. It's giving the particles. It's grown grass. But it's not growing any moss in our stone. Weird. Is there something with the pistons here that is blocking that from working? Let's remove that one, and yeah. It appears to be the pistons, which is really weird. I don't know why it's doing that. So I guess we have to remove this, and that plan is not going to work. Oh well. We tried at least. And to be honest, there aren't that many moss carpets, so it shouldn't be that hard to break. And tossing moss on there will get it collected. Oops. Let's go grab another one back out of our storage now. And there we go. So with that now upgraded, we can now go back to focusing on the decoration here, where we need to get some fountains in these two spaces that still have endstone, but I'm still working on how those are going to be designed. One bit of decoration I do want to get done is a little bit of fencing, because as much as I like the little hedges out of leaves, I want more of an actual fence. So I'm thinking about doing something with these iron bars, and then we'll put some light gray candles. I need to put an actual block there. And here we go. Here's a little short section of fence, and I quite like it. Not quite sure if I'm going to leave all the candles lit, but I think I want to expand this out a little bit more, and I think it looks quite nice. I've just lit all of these with my sword, and I think that this fence will do well for dividing up areas I don't want to put a hedge in. Not quite sure if it's going to go there or not. Might move it, might take it out entirely. I don't quite know at this point. But most of that detail work is going to have to wait for the next episode, because I am about out of time for today. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.